Have you ever had that feeling that something big is about to happen, but no one wants to say it out loud? That's exactly the mood at Rush Green. In recent hours, reports suggest that West Ham's owners are growing uneasy with the direction of a story that began with hype expectation and a gamble on the future. The arrival of Luis Gilherme, the Brazilian starlet who left Palmeiras straight for the Premier League, carrying the label of the next big talent. But the reality of the world's most intense league is ruthless. Between minor fitness issues, the challenge of adapting to a much quicker and tougher game, and the pressure for immediate results, the youngster has yet to take off as many had imagined. And that's triggered alarm bells at the very top of the club. The conversation no one wanted to have is now on the table. Persist and accelerate his integration, or loan him out so he can gain minutes, confidence, and resilience in a different environment. Before any verdict, it's worth understanding the crossroads. On one side, there's a significant investment, a career plan, and a coaching staff who saw above-average technical potential, close control dribbling in tight spaces, line-breaking passes, and that element of surprise every supporter loves. On the other, the cold edge of English professionalism. If you don't deliver now, the table doesn't wait. The pressure mounts, the dressing room fills it, and the media start to dissect every touch, every decision, every missed chance, as though it were a sentence. West Ham are in a season where there's no room for slip-ups. When the team clicks, supporters demand consistency. When it doesn't, the criticism comes thick and fast. And a 19-year-old playing far from home needs an emotional safety net. Something the Premier League often fails to provide. That's why the loan debate is such a delicate one. From a technical point of view, it makes perfect sense to give Luis Gilherme a run of games where he can be the protagonist, make mistakes without fear, and put him right in the following match. Psychologically, few remedies are as powerful as the ball hitting the net, the assist coming off the crowd applauding. Commercially, though, it's a game of chess. A loan can increase his value if the destination is right and the role fits. A loan can also devalue him if the context turns out to be disastrous. And that's the fear of those signing the checks, sending the asset away, without guaranteeing the perfect conditions for him to explode. No wonder the so-called loan update is being handled with kid gloves. It's not enough to have an offer. It has to be the right offer with a tactical plan, promised minutes, performance triggers, and watertight recall clauses. What weighs in favor of keeping him? The daily contact with the coaching staff, adapting to the language, learning the pressing triggers of the league, and the physical growth that comes from training against centre-backs who hit hard and full-backs, who run for 90 minutes, and above all, the simple fact that the talent is there. Everyone in football recognizes when the first touch is clean, when the head is up before the marker arrives, when the body shields the ball naturally. Luis Gilherme has that. What's missing is the right context, a game that opens up a run of 3 or 4 matches with a clearer role, a goal that changes the tide. Sometimes the difference between didn't make it and burst onto the scene is a deflection, a 1-2, a shot that goes in. What weighs in favor of a loan? The development clock. On the tactics board, you sketch the following a team that values a creative winger, a league with an intense calendar but less suffocating than the Premier League, a manager willing to back him through the ups and downs, local media that's less predatory, supporters who embrace technical players. It could be a championship side offering a starring role. It could be a top-flight league on the continent with more possession and control. It could even be a temporary return to the ecosystem that shaped him, as long as it brings genuine maturity. The point is, a good loan is one where the player comes back bigger, not one where you simply hide him. And while the club debates behind closed doors the best path for the Brazilian, the world outside is boiling. The English football press thrives on tension, and any spark can quickly become a blaze. It's no coincidence that we recently saw a side story explode. Nicholas Füllkrug was called out for pathetic actions in an incident that made headlines, and former player Jamie O'Hara seized the moment to fire sharp criticism at a West Ham player. You may agree or disagree with the tone, but the message is clear. The atmosphere is electric, and every gesture, every remark, every statistic becomes ammunition. This is the backdrop against which Luis Gilherme is trying to build confidence. Now bring that lens into the owner's room. They're looking at the bigger picture money invested short-term, sporting return pressure. For results, the transfer window wide open, a crop of new signings that need to deliver supporters demanding identity. When reports say the owners are unhappy with progress deemed damning, read it as this. It's not about giving up on the talent, but about demanding direction, targets, deliverables. Elite football has become portfolio management. Those who develop recalibrate their path. Those who stall switch tracks. And the club knows the worst outcome is to get stuck in the middle, no minutes here, no minutes there, no clear progress, no showcase. From a technical standpoint, the diagnosis from those watching closely is quite straightforward. Luis Gilherme needs to get on the ball more often in the areas where he is lethal, between the lines and in the half space receiving with his back to goal and turning quickly or facing up and taking on his man 1-versus-1. He needs repetition of key patterns, short diagonals inside quick 1-2s to break through low crosses after accelerating shots from the edge of the box when the defense drops too deep. He is not a pure vertical sprinter who thrives only in open field. He is the creative type who finds solutions in the tight spaces. If West Ham's game demands rigid width and little freedom inside the fit becomes harder. If the plan allows rotations, interchanges with the midfielder in central zones and quick combinations, then his game comes alive. It's tactical design, no mystery. Mentally, the club weighs everything too. How does he react to mistakes? How does he train the next day? Does he demand the ball or shy away? Does he engage with the nutrition staff, the performance psychologist, the language department? The leap from South American youth football to the Premier League isn't just physical. It's cultural. It means leaving home, dealing with the cold, with the press, with dressing room humor, with opponents who know you from video analysis even if they've never faced you before. If the coaching staff see progress on all those fronts, the tendency is to resist alone and double down on the internal bet. If not, the option of sending him out for a few months becomes the pragmatic one. Amid all of this, there's the storyline that keeps the audience hooked. What now? Do West Ham loan him out and risk seeing him explode elsewhere, only to face a fight for his place when he returns? Do they keep him and accept the ups and downs in order to reap the rewards later on? Do they seek a middle ground with a recall clause in January if the external plan doesn't work out? These aren't just questions for a football phone. They're decisions that reshape careers and determine whether a multi-million-pound asset becomes a star for a big club or remains forever a prospect. For the supporters, what's left is a mix of anxiety and hope. The anxiety of watching a talent everyone knows is there but who has yet to produce a memorable chapter in a Hammers shirt. The hope that with 2 or 3 right games the story flips on its head. Because it can. Football is full of such cases, months of doubt, one goal that sets a player free, a run of games that clicks, and suddenly the same lad who was a question mark becomes the answer. The key is making sure the environment doesn't implode before that moment arrives. And that's why the temperature rose when reports of the owner's discontent emerged. In practical terms, it means accelerated conversations, mapping potential destinations, phone calls to clubs willing to offer a defined role, and frank dialogue with the players' camp. It also means tough conversations inside the building. What can we adjust here? How do we give him 20, 30, 40 regular minutes without compromising results? Which fixture in the calendar allows for a test? What tweak in his micro role unlocks his strength? Sometimes the answer lies within, not outside. The Phil Krug episode and O'Hara's digs help explain the mood. English punditry loves a definitive label, and the word pathetic sticks like glue. When a West Ham player becomes a target, it spills over to the whole squad more scrutiny. Less margin for error, less patience. For a young creative, that noise carries weight. At the same time, it's the kind of trial that forges a career. Survive the furnace and you're ready for anything. Part of growing is precisely learning to filter out the noise and deliver when the camera is at its closest. In the end, the decision West Ham take in the coming days will say a great deal about the club's sporting project. A loan can be an act of intelligent courage, provided it is well chosen. Keeping him can be too if there's conviction and a clear path. What cannot happen is for the boy to become a satellite orbiting without direction, sometimes close to the team, sometimes far away, without minutes, without routine, without a role. Luis Gilherme came to England because someone saw in him the ability to decide matches. That ability has not evaporated. It is waiting for an environment where it can appear again and again. And here's a point that often separates clubs who get it right from those who waste talent: the definition of simple, measurable indicators. How many consecutive minutes across X weeks? How many actions in a final third per 90 minutes? How many attacking duels attempted per game? How many times did he receive in the inside channel with close support? When you measure, you take the debate out of guesswork and place it in practical development. If that development happens in London, excellent. If it happens elsewhere for a few months, so long as the plan is serious, that too is a victory. Meanwhile, supporters keep one eye on the transfer window clock and another on the news feed. They know the Premier League waits for no one. They know the owners want answers. And they know above all that football has a short memory. And the same press that demands today will be the first to celebrate if the youngster catches fire. And that is the suspense in which this chapter closes. Owners' restless coaching staff weighing options, the market circling, pundits shouting, and a 19-year-old talent at the center of it all. If you ask me what the only certainty is, I'll answer without hesitation. West Ham's next decision on Luis Gilherme will say a lot, not only about how the club views the present, but about its very identity for the years ahead. And when identity is at stake, every minute counts, every choice matters, and every touch might be the first step in a turnaround that in hindsight will look obvious.